The following program is an original production of Link TV.
Funding for this program provided by One Nation, a philanthropic collaborative investing in ideas, people, and organizations working to fulfill America's promise of liberty and justice for all.
Up next, videos that make you laugh,
Yo, the video's funny.
cry, reflect, and see people in a whole new way. These are just some of the things that you'll experience as you view the winners of the 2007 One Nation Many Voices online film contest. Coming up, a special program showcasing the winning films and the filmmakers who made them.
I write them, I direct them, usually I edit them.
You'll meet grand prize winner Lena Khan, who talks about the challenges of being an American Muslim filmmaker. Qasim Basir talks about his film Glimpse and the parallels to his own life. Artist Medea Sandhu reveals her own life through animation. We'll take you to Baba Ali's film studio, which is actually his daughter's bedroom, to see how he does his weekly videos.
Relax.
You'll meet young filmmaker Renee Dongo as he talks about Countdown, the winning youth entry. And Sharif Rosen gives us a behind-the-scenes tour of the Ummah Clinic, winner in the documentary category. All on the Link TV special, the One Nation Many Voices Filmmaker Awards, the 2007 winners. Hi everyone, I'm Wendy Hanamura, and welcome to this Link TV special presentation of the winners of the One Nation Many Voices online film contest.
And I'm Azhar Usman. I was honored to serve as one of the judges for the contest.
You know, sponsored by One Nation, the purpose of this contest was to generate new films about the American Muslim experience and to foster conversations about the common values that we all share as Americans, regardless of how we choose to express our spirituality.
We actually received over 120 entries into the contest, and ultimately the judges had to select one winner in each of 6 categories, as well as one grand prize winner for the whole contest.
And those categories were music and animation, comedy, documentary, drama, youth 18 and under, and spot 60 seconds or less. After you, our Link TV community, had a chance to vote online for the 5 finalists in each category, our panel of judges picked the winners. Now, Azhar, you were part of that judging panel.
That's right.
It also included One Nation board member Sarah Abbasi, activist and actor Danny Glover, journalist Marianne Pearl, and NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the only one you've never heard of.
Which is not true. I mean, you are part of a very hot comedy team called Allah Made Me Funny.
That's right. Well, yeah, I am a comedian, and I'm part of the Allah Made Me Funny official Muslim comedy tour. We've been honored and blessed to perform in over a dozen countries. We've toured all over the place, and we're quite excited. We actually have a film coming out later this year that tour is very excited about that. And we've all been comedians for many years. I'd love to share a clip of my work.
Let's take a look.
And I love being a comic, but I'll tell you what, my least favorite thing is all the traveling, okay? And the worst part about it is the moment I have to walk into the airport. Come on, people, you can write your own joke right there. Me walking into the airport, heads turn simultaneously. Security guy's like, shh, we got a Muhammad at 4 o'clock. 10-4, Muhammad at 4, over and out. You get the smelly one, I got the hairy one. Excuse me, sir, can I see your ID? My middle name actually is Muhammad. That's what I thought, you're coming with me. The only thing worse than that is the moment I have to get on the plane. People are in shock. I mean, seriously, they're in the middle of conversations like, so, where are you from? Where are you heading? Oh my God. I'm gonna die. Honey, I love you. He's so hairy. He smells like curry. He keeps staring at me. I'll be honest, people, I don't understand what these people are so scared of. I don't get it. Because think about it. If I was a crazy Muslim fundamentalist terrorist about to hijack the plane, this is probably not the disguise I would go with.
Well, let me tell you, comedy is not as easy as it looks. And neither is filmmaking. And with my experience now in making Allah Made Me Funny live in concert, I realized how much hard work goes into making even a small piece of content.
It's true. So what's harder, comedy or filmmaking?
That's tough to say, but I will say that I was very impressed with the production quality of several of the entries, especially the winners in the contest.
Absolutely. You know, the first film that we want to show you is the winner of the music animation category. Now, Azar, if you think filmmaking is tough, just imagine adding on the complexities of doing an animation.
That's true, that's true. And ultimately, we saw a lot of great submissions, but the winner was Mediha Sandhu for her film Arranged, which ended up scoring the highest points and impressing the judges the most. Let's check it out.
Beta, do your homework. Always on the computer. Always. You don't ever pay attention to the important stuff. That is why we're getting you married. Yes, that is it. You're getting married. Mom, I don't want to get married. I want to study and explore the world. I want to see my potential. I want to find myself, you know? Okay. We get you married. Mom! I don't have a problem with arranged marriages, you know, where one's parents picks out the spouse for their kid. Most seem to work out and last. I just don't like how they're carried out. Traditionally, parents overlook the part of asking what the kid wants and go ahead doing what's best for them. My cousin just got married recently and my parents have been completely on my case. You thought academic comparison was bad? This is marriage. Not only is this marriage, it's arranged. Did you notice that a bride is not allowed to look up? Well, she's allowed to look up, but then frowned upon by the millions and millions of people at the wedding. You know, because there are millions and millions of people at the wedding. That's my cousin. That's whom I'm supposed to be like. Technically, this is the perfect picture. What do you think? Oh, if you think that was bad enough, check out the jewelry. Beautiful? Yes. Oh, and does she look amazing? Of course she does. She spent many, many, many hours at the beauty parlor. Have you seen the guy? Makeupless? Yeah, he looks his age. Exactly about 10 years older than her. Do you see him? Yeah? Well, she doesn't. She won't see him until she's allowed to look up. She has yet to see him, ladies and gentlemen. This is an arranged marriage. The kind of guys they do find are scary. My parents look for older, professional doctors. My mom says it's best to marry a man 11 years older. I find these guys to be quite stubborn, though, and stupid. Like, one insisted on being 5'9". I'm 5'5", and I was taller than him. But oh no, he refused to believe it. Then there was this one who proudly displayed his gut and said I was too fat. I couldn't help but laugh at him. And then there are ones who think that they're too pretty for me. Yeah, right. My dad once said at the time he was in his mid-20s that he would have liked to have married a girl who was 14 years old with a college education. They still want twig skinny girls in their teens with a college education not to work, but to be housewives and have many, many kids. Preferably sons. She must have a great figure that of course now is covered because he married her and he's insecure and possessive. And she must be obedient and not argue. I'm 22. By 25, you're considered too old to be married. So now I'm constantly arguing with my parents about marriage. I am the last marriable girl left in the family, so all eyes are on me. I don't want to get married right now, though. There are things I'd like to do before that. I've tried talking and reasoning with my parents. That doesn't work. They just nod and agree to shut me up. So now I'm gaining weight, and Lord knows none of those guys want to marry a girl over 100 pounds. And if that doesn't work, then I move out. No? Run away. To Australia.
Well, Medea did not run off to Australia, thank goodness, but her parents did take her back to Pakistan again in search of another doctor.
Is that right?
To marry her. Well, why are you laughing?
Well, I mean, I think it's sort of what I liked about the film. It's such an honest, raw portrayal of what's going on in her life, and evidently, you know, art was mirroring life in that case. I also thought it was a great little film because it's multimedia, it's very entertaining for that reason, and also it tells such an honest story that is very common, I think, for women around the world, not just in South Asia.
Well, after seeing Arranged, we thought you might like to know more about Medea Sandhu. So I got to meet her in Newark, New Jersey, where she's right now a student at Rutgers University.
Yes, that is it. You're getting married. Mom, I don't want to get married. I want to study and explore the world. I want to see my potential. I want to find myself, you know?
My name is Medea. I'm a Pakistani American. I'm an art student for digital art, and I'm in my final year at Rutgers. I started drawing when I was in like the 6th grade. My sister asked me to draw something, and it turned out pretty good, and since then I've just been drawing. For me, growing up in America was a little different, I guess, because, well, I came here when I was 5, so pretty much this is all I know, really, and but the other kids, they really did treat me very differently. I didn't dress the same, and I didn't speak the language that great. I have one older sister and 2 younger brothers. They're all pursuing medical degrees. I am the only one that's not. Most of my family is like doctors and stuff, so they look at me and they're like, oh, you're an artist. Like, what is that? You do that for fun, that's not a job. Ninjavi.com is a comic that I started a couple of years ago, and it's about a high school teenager living in America. Ninjavi is part ninja and hijabi. Hijabi is a girl that wears this head covering. The name was me and my partner had come up with because he wanted women to have more of a voice, and he wanted them to be more prominent Muslim women. So he was like, they should be like ninjas. You know, strong, not like hidden, but strong. This one was about other random questions people just walk up and ask you. So this kid walks up and asks her, hey, are you in Islam? And she doesn't want to like make him uncomfortable or something, so she says, I guess. And he yells back to some friends, like, see, I told you. And then he asks her, Islam is different than Muslims, right? Muslims are the ones that believe in suicide bombing. And she's all freaked out. For me, drawing and art is therapeutic, and it's a way to express yourself. I can't really have conversations with my family, so I just draw out my comics and stuff. They'll read it and they'll pick up on what I'm trying to say. My mom will read the comics and she'll be like, I didn't do that, I didn't mean this, or it's like, your brother didn't really say this, or stuff like that. So it's very like, it's helpful. My dream is to turn Ninjavi into a company and make films and cartoons and products and all that stuff. It's a big dream, but that's it.
My cousin just got married recently, and my parents have been completely on my case.
Arranged was a film I was making for my senior thesis. It was like my final project for art. My family really liked the visuals. They thought I did a great job animating it. ... They thought it was really funny how I drew my cousin and her husband. They were like, he's not that bad.
What do you think?
Oh, I did it on arranged marriages because at the time my parents were trying to have me arranged, and they took an ad out in Pakistan. It pretty much said, US visa girl, seeks doctor, and you know, call this number. That's pretty much it. And so we had people call up and they had to prove that they were doctors, and then after that they came to see me, and a lot of them were really intimidated because the next time we went to Pakistan and did the whole arranged new set of guys, I insisted on staying there and talking to them, and some of them thought it was really weird. They're like, no, girls are supposed to just go. They don't talk. And my mom would explain to them, she's like, well, she has it in her head that, you know, this is what they do, and Islam does allow you to sit there and talk, but we told her we don't do it like this, but she insists, so. I think the video will like help filter people out. I think it'll help because finding the right one, not just somebody that just wants me as, okay, she's a wife and she'll take care of my house. It'll be somebody that's really interested in me. I think that I'll, be able to set up my own arranged marriage. Like on my terms.
Medea's going to use her $5,000 prize to buy herself a brand new computer, one that doesn't fall apart.
That's great news. I think that she'll have a lot more animation to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of her work.
And she also wants to open a store with her Ninjavi characters. I think it's going to be good.
It's a good idea.
Now, next we want to show you the winner of the documentary category. It's called Healing Our Community, and it's the story of a Muslim American clinic in South Central LA, founded for the purpose of serving the people who live there, who come from a wide range of faiths.
This film is one of my favorites because it's about such a wonderful project, the clinic, which really reflects the true spirit of Islam in America. And I think that the film does a really wonderful job of portraying the good work being done by this wonderful clinic. It's called Healing Our Community. Let's take a look.
I request unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes.
Without objection.
If you want to see what Muslim Americans truly represent, go to the Ummah Community Clinic and you will see it there.
We are in the poorest, not just in Los Angeles, but probably in the United States. This population has the most premature births, most number of foster kids, the most number of child abuse, the least number of people with health insurance.
In California, 1 out of every 3 people in this state does not have health insurance.
We're not just talking about homeless people or drug addicts.
80% of the uninsured still have jobs. What does that mean? That means that these aren't lazy people not doing anything. There's a very serious problem with the system.
LA County has seen the closure of 11 community clinics. These people might have to take 5 buses and 2 freeways to access services that are not practical for them to access.
We have to realize that the Ummah Community Clinic is sometimes the only resort for our community to go to.
And that really is part of why Ummah settled on South Central Los Angeles. It's caring for those neighbors who are the most needy.
We were quite naive and quite idealistic as students, and though we didn't have much resources or financial backing or even a land or building, we had our Islamic faith in common, which compelled us to put our faith in action and provide services to a community in need.
When we first saw the building, it was basically a boarded up, run down, crumbling building.
That was literally a source of disease to the community.
It was being used by drug dealers and drug addicts. When we first went in the building, it was full of needles, liquor bottles.
And we were able to take this eyesore, this disease-ridden building, and turn it into something that promotes health. We found that this particular area, which was right on the same street where Reginald Denny was beaten during the civil disturbances of 1992, it's a place that showed historic intolerance, and it should be a place that shows historic mercy and historic compassion.
Our focus is not just treating disease, is to provide ongoing preventive services, health education, in hopes of promoting the overall health of this community.
The first Muslim clinic to provide health care to the underserved in the United States.
I really think it's a good thing that the Muslims would come up with something like this to help the community.
and invite more than just, Muslims here.
Of all of our patients, I would say maybe 1 to 2% of them are Muslim.
The way we are being portrayed in the media, it's very nice to see a place where people are coming and are feeling welcomed and respected and taken care of.
Islam is represented for what it is, which is an open-minded, tolerant faith.
The Islamic message is bigger than just about us. It's bigger than just about giving to our own.
Your actions speak louder than words, and I think that's what Uma does. Uma is actually doing the work.
I remember it was 2 years ago fundraising, we walk in there, some lady walked into me, put the 2-year-old in my arms, and he said, I took him everywhere. Couldn't get help for him. One day I was walking in a sidewalk here. I saw the name Free up there. I walk in there, and my baby was quite dirty. I was quite dirty. But you picked up my baby. That's what Ummah Clinic is. They give without asking anything back.
It's an amazing place, and I think it's really remarkable that 14 years after these UCLA medical students started this clinic, it's still going strong. Have you been there?
I have. In fact, I visited the original facility and I've met with some of the founders. It's a very inspiring place. It's just an incredible project that was started by a bunch of, as you said, college kids, which is why the name Ummah originally was an acronym, which stands for University Muslim Medical Association. But it's also a beautiful name because in Arabic, the word ummah means community. So it's kind of a wonderful name for such a project that is so inspiring and serving the community.
Well, recently our crew visited the Ummah Clinic to get an update on what's been going on.
Yeah, this is sort of a documentary about the documentary. Let's have a look.
I constantly get calls, especially when this video was produced and released, 1 to 2 calls a month of how to replicate the Ummah Clinic, and how not only within the States but in different parts where obviously there's still healthcare disparity.
Healing Our Community began as a video time capsule to celebrate the first 10 years of the Ummah Community Clinic.
This was a collaborative project from day one that involved multiple layers and multiple input of people in creating it. From the board of directors to the local community, everyone had a hand, I think, in creating what's become a very successful film. But that's the thing, it wasn't one person's vision. It was really so many people sharing ideas. But the idea was that a lot of people had to have input on telling this story.
In creating the video, it was important to remain true to the vision of the American Muslims who first founded the clinic, and to convey the same energy and dynamism that propelled the project from idea to reality. But still, in putting together the Ummah Clinic story, there were challenges.
Lots of compelling interview content could not obviously make it. People whose lives have been greatly impacted by Ummah, from volunteers to patients whose multiple generations of the family have been now coming here, from kids and grandkids, etc. So, we couldn't capture all of that on film. Stuff like that wasn't able to make it. So we wanted it to be an advocacy piece. We wanted to speak to the great work and the great contribution of Muslim Americans, but we also wanted people to understand that the energy that was behind this founding of this clinic, it needs to be actually transmitted to a new generation of Muslim Americans who will build the next set of social service institutions, build the next crop of institutions that will go and make a major impact in their society.
The bilingual thank you notes from young patients reflect the impact that this clinic has already had in South Central Los Angeles. Ummah doesn't just provide free health care, it also provides jobs.
Our staff makeup pretty much mirrors the demographics of our community. We tend to hire a lot of people from the community. A lot of people ask, well, it's a Muslim institution, do the majority of people here at work are Muslim, and in fact the majority of the people that work at Ummah are not from the Muslim community. We have a majority Latino workforce, primarily in the clinical side. And our patient population really is around 67% Latino and around 17% African American.
The issue of diversity crops up all around the clinic, whether from the patients and staff or the art and signs all over the walls. This is certainly a case of walking the talk, a clinic that builds bridges, in addition to fulfilling its mission of free healthcare.
The greater message around what the Ummah Clinic and what the video really gets at is really, in order to fulfill and strive for social justice, it cannot come from one community. It cannot come from one person or one ideology. It's the linking of all shared values and actually bringing people together. That's when you actually see the real fruits. And we've seen the fruits here in this small little clinic in Florence and Hoover, but it's definitely not small in the eyes of many people all over the world.
What we really love about this film and about this clinic is that it so embodies the goal of this contest, which is to tell stories, not stereotypes, about Muslims in America. And you know, this is a clinic that has been serving a multi-faith community for decades now. And I think it's, you know, you saw all those awards on the wall. Obviously, it's getting a lot of national recognition for its work.
As it should, in my opinion. It's an important project, and as you also saw in the footage, it's serving an area of the country that is extremely underserved and probably needs that health care the most.
Right.
Well, at this point, we're going to take a short station break, but don't go away. When we come back, a look at one of my favorite films in the contest, and it was produced for the youth category.
Hi, I'm Wendy Hanamura of Link TV, here with Azhar Usman, comedian and one of the judges from the One Nation, Many Voices online film contest. Next, we're going to show you the first prize film in the Youth 18 and Under category. It features a spoken word artist, Sophia Snow. Now, I remember, Azhar, that the judges felt, at least one of them, that this was the very best entry in the entire contest, and she called it a very eloquent summary of why we're doing this contest in the first place. She said that the poet talks from the heart and addresses the root causes of fear. Now, Azhar, I think you were quite taken by this film as well.
I was, I have to be honest with you. It's a fantastic little film. And I have to admit also, I'm a bit partial to comedians and poets.
Yeah?
I was once told that the only two people in society who can really speak truth to power are comedians and poets. Everybody else gets their head chopped off. So I thought this film really did justice to an underlying poem that was so powerful and captivating.
Yeah. Now, let's see what wowed our judges by taking a look at The Countdown by Rene Dongo. He's a young director who had just turned 18 when he made this film.
3 days he been working the job. 2 years he been trying to get the promotion. 1 office floor obliterated on impact. 3 seconds felt like a lifetime of memories. 2 eyelids as the blank screens they play upon. Only once have you ever felt this empty. 5 minutes of reading in an elementary school. 4 seconds lapse between each conscious breath while 300 million citizens are in one moment of silence for 3,000 citizens that are displaced and too many to blame, but one face in the cave gets the spotlight. I'm not saying that day wasn't an incredible loss for our country. I'm not going to detach us from the reality of what happened by focusing on all the conspiracy theories this time, though they're most likely true. But this one day hurts for so many reasons. Just the thought of it makes my knees buckle and skeleton crumble like the media hijacked a plane from my hometown. My chest burns like an open field in Pennsylvania. My heart has a hexagon hole in it the size of the Pentagon's hole in it, and over 5 years later, it's finally sinking in. 3 times every 2 minutes they played one moment. 3 times every 2 minutes they played one moment. 3 times every 2 minutes they played one moment I can no longer deny. 3, 2, one day I want to be able to reminisce with my kids on the white chalk hieroglyphics written on the blackboard, or how my paper ball bounced off the trash can backboard when my former Black Panther 7th grade history teacher strolled in and told us that America was in for the awakening of a lifetime. One time I want to look at the New York City skyline and not feel like something's missing, not miss the twins kissing, the sunrise, good morning, and the sunset, good night. 3, 2, One of these days, I'm gonna have the courage to watch the footage without squirming in my seat, but to see God's promise of ashes to ashes result in waves of gray crashing on innocent bystanders, stranded and alone on busy streets, all staring at the same point in the sky like the ball drop on New Year's Eve, and truly find themselves dropping the ball on the eve of a new year is just too much for me to handle. To see people of all colors unify under a blanket of debris, running from the breeze, dancing to the beat of bodies dropping 107 flights down to the street like a drum, rhythms reverberating from the financial district to the slums, is just too much for me to handle. This is what you call a crisis, when we finally put our differences aside, only to put our imperial flag on the forefront, and we finally outstretch our arms to love our neighbor, because trauma this big is strong enough to bring us together, unless you're Muslim, disregarding the fact that Islam means peace. When will we put our differences aside to bring our humility to the forefront and finally outstretch our arms to drop our guns and reveal that our hearts are on our sleeves? When will we put our differences aside to bring our humanity to the forefront and embrace our international neighbors who mourned our 3,000 deaths with more honesty than we mourned any decimating genocide their country may have known? This is what you call a crisis. 4 planes left my hometown one September morning. 3 reached their destinations. 2 towers crumbled. 1 field ablaze. 3 seconds felt like a lifetime of memories. 2 years he'd been trying to get the promotion. Each one of us should love all of us, because if 3, 2, we are one. If 3, 2, we are one. If 3, 2, if we are one, a September morning wouldn't have to feel as cold. And footage of the planes flying into the World Trade Center Twin Towers wouldn't feel as chilling, and 3,000 souls could finally rest in peace, and Ground Zero could symbolize more than a nation's karma, more than an empty space, but room for improvement. If we are one, maybe then we could finally put our differences aside to bring peace to the forefront and reveal to our enemies that wearing our hearts on our sleeves isn't as dangerous as it seems. One.
Well, you can see now why the judges were so taken by this film. I thought it was such an important comment on what's happening in our country and in our world at this time. You know, it's been said, Wendy, that politics demonizes and art humanizes. What I thought was so important about this film was that it's a piece of art, and yet it's tackling such a heavy political theme. I thought it did so very artfully and in a way that was so humanizing.
And both of these artists were 18. They were teenagers when they came up with this.
That's right. It's really impressive.
It is. You know, I had the opportunity to meet the filmmaker behind this film, and I have to say, Azar, he had the most ironic and wry sense of humor. He would be cracking these jokes, and I was like, it would take me a beat to realize he was just kidding. He's great. I caught up with Rene Dongo on the very last day of his freshman year at Emerson College in Boston.
Do the rewind thing. What did I say? Who am I? That was a good question. I'm Rene Dongo. I'm a Boston native. I go to Emerson College, study film. Film is a passion of mine, and I like to make movies. Yeah, I remember just going to movies and just like, wow, that's a power. You know, that's not like, you know, political power or anything else, but like it's a power. It will change your emotions. It could change how you think. I just saw the power that films had and decided that I wanted to see if I could do that.
Rene Dongo started making films when he was just 15. Now he's a film major at Boston's Emerson College. We caught up with Rene on the last day of his freshman year, moving out of the dorms and thinking back on his breakthrough film.
I was looking at, say, my senior year. I'm ending high school, I'm about to go to college, and I wanted to do something different.
3, 2, 1.
Instead of, making another gross out comedy, which I would love to do, I took the time and worked with my friends and worked with Sophia to make something serious.
And over 5 years later, it's finally sinking in.
That something serious became The Countdown. It features spoken word artist Sophia Snow, a friend of Rene's since 3rd grade.
But I didn't want to take away from what Sophia was talking about. I mean, because that's the important thing. It's more or less to try to get people to think about 9/11 without them actually seeing 9/11 on screen. I thought it would be more powerful and wouldn't take away from Sophia's poem. It would just add on to it and complement it.
In The Countdown, Rene's father plays a cameo role, a kind of everyman representing the victims of 9/11. But Rene hopes to make you think about the unseen victims of that tragedy as well.
In regards to Muslim Americans, I hope The Countdown reminds people that we are not perfect, we're not a perfect country. After tragedy, yes, we come together, but sometimes these things happen if we disrespect individuals because of their ethnicity or because of their beliefs, and we have to learn from that.
Rene first learned his craft at the Institute of Contemporary Art's Teen New Media program called Fast Forward. There he had access to top equipment and mentoring. Plus, thanks to Fast Forward, The Countdown has been accepted into 12 film festivals around the country. And Rene got a $5,000 call from the One Nation Many Voices film contest.
I screamed a lot, and then the person on the phone told me to stop screaming. Yeah, no, actually I did scream a lot, and then they're like, okay, chill out and we'll figure out more information. I thought it was great. I was in my dorm, I think I had like a bad day or something. I was like, ah, and then made my day.
And what will this now 19-year-old do with his prize money?
Hopefully I'm gonna buy a camera. I've been borrowing cameras to make my films for the last 5 years, and I don't have anything of my own. So getting a camera would, just be the world to me.
Back home at last with his close-knit family. You might think that as first-generation Peruvian Americans, his parents would object to their only son entering the financially uncertain world of film.
No, they should be like Rene. Váyate a trabajar un poco, pero no. They say like, my family, I think they're very open-minded, and my sister's a chef, sort of. By seeing that like me and my sister have dreams and are going to pursue them, they're not going to stop us. They're going to support us, and that's the best way.
He's not afraid to just start any project, and I like that, because every person wants to do something, but sometimes you say, I'll do it tomorrow. I never do it. And in his case, whatever he is saying to me, he's doing it. Beautiful. That's the best thing that can happen to me.
Rene is a great filmmaker, and it's such a wonderful family. That's what struck me most in Boston. What a warm, big Peruvian family he has. And his dad said to me, what could be better? I have one daughter who is a chef, one son who is a filmmaker, both pursuing their dreams. He said, what as a parent could be better than that?
I think that's really heartwarming. One thing that struck me was the fact that the film itself, in terms of the filmmaker, as well as the poet in the film, neither of them are Muslim. And to me, that reflects really the diversity not only of the films that were entered in the contest, but also the filmmakers themselves.
Absolutely. Next, we want to take you on to the drama category. This is a real poignant story of a family facing conflicts about how best to practice their religion. One of our judges gave it high marks for showing the complexity of being a Muslim in America.
Now let's watch Glimpse by New York filmmaker Qasim Basir.
Tariq,
Yes?
where's your kufi?
I was gonna put it on when I got to school.
Put it on now.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
They're children.
They're Muslim.
He's 12.
He's a young man. We're living this life for the life hereafter. This is not what's important.
That doesn't mean we can't be happy while we're here.
Our happiness should come from serving Allah.
It's about balance.
It's about worship.
Times have changed. They don't call for the same militant mentality.
But they call for discipline.
I want a divorce.
What is your problem? Ow, Tariq, you're hurting me.
There, you're done.
I'm gonna continue to be the Muslim woman I'm supposed to be. But this, I can't do this anymore. There's no compassion. What happened to you? I want a divorce.
Taco, it's gone.
I'll see you later. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Son. You're not wearing your scarf.
I know. I wear it sometimes.
You're supposed to wear it all the time.
Why are you even asking me about that? Is that why you wanted to see me now, after all this time?
No, I came to see you because I'm in college now. I'm on my own now, and I wanted to reach out. You know, I haven't seen you in a while.
So why didn't you ever come see us before?
Because Dad, he always had me out in Jamaat, in some other city or state or something. He sent me to a school in Canada for 1.5 years to learn Quran.
So that covers 1.5 years, maybe. You haven't been by since I was 11, Tariq.
I mean, I haven't had my car until...
Whatever, I want the truth, Tariq, seriously.
Dad didn't want me to hear what Ma was saying about Islam, what she was teaching. He said that if I listened to her, I wouldn't be a strong Muslim.
Ma taught me about balance.
Well, I was taught of strength.
It's about love and Allah's mercy.
It's about discipline, which you obviously don't have since you can't even wear your scarf.
How dare you? You have no idea what I've been through. Ma tried to come by so many times and see you, and every time Dad had some kind of excuse as to why we couldn't. My father never once tried to come see me, as long as he had his first son. You know what? You must have forgot. You were the one who fixed my hair every time I took my scarf off at school. You got some nerve.
Talk, come here.
Get off of me! You are just like him! Leave me alone!
Come here, okay?
Leave me alone!
Calm down. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry. I missed you, okay?
I missed you too. Islam is supposed to bring us together, not apart.
From now on, it will. You hear me? From now on, it will.
You know, Wendy, one of the things I really liked about this film is the fact that it really did fulfill the mission of the contest. Once again, stories, not stereotypes. A lot of Americans are not aware of the fact that African Americans constitute the largest single ethnic demographic of Muslims in America. And the fact that this film explored the inner dynamics and the inner workings of an African American Muslim family, to me, was a beautiful story to hear.
You know, Azhar, I got to see all 120 films, and when I hit this one, I cried. It really moved me. It really did. And another thing I learned was that Qasim Basir, who made this film, stars in it, and the woman who plays his sister is actually his real sister, Miriam.
Is that in real life?
In real life.
Wow, interesting.
Recently, I got to meet both brother and sister when I went behind the scenes with Qasim Basir in New York. In the middle of New York City, lessons on how to hear your own heartbeat.
And breathing in. And breathing out.
6 years ago, Qasim Basir was thrown 40 feet from a moving car and survived. He has been following his heart ever since.
So I woke up in the hospital. My head was really swollen, and the doctor says to me, you should be dead right now. Like, for me, that was a huge turning point. It was definitely the beginning of a whole process of me finding my purpose and trying to make my life more meaningful. That's definitely what propelled me to get into filmmaking, and not just making any kind of film, just making films that mean something.
Films like Glimpse that mirror some of Qasim's own life, with a strict father and parents who divorced. For his sister in the film, Qasim didn't have to look far. He cast his real sister, Miriam.
When my mother and father separated, and she took off 5 of us, I can't imagine, what she went through, having 5 children, no job, and pulling herself up and getting through that. She never accepted welfare, did what she had to do to make it.
After my parents separated, it was like a community of townhouses, and there were a lot of Muslims around there, and they used to come and bring us like rice and like cereal and just bags of like food, which really helped a lot.
We didn't have insurance. It was a brother, Dr. Khan, who was a Pakistani brother, who gave us all free checkups and stuff like that, which...
So things like that really helped.
It was basically our faith and the Muslim community who rallied around us and made sure we were okay. It was all the family, We were just part of a bigger family.
The rituals of cleansing and prayer that Qasim learned as a boy are what keep him centered as a man. He says that his film is not about Islam splitting a family apart, but about finding the balance that Islam can bring.
Our parents, as first large generation of Muslims in America, they were all trying for the first time this new thing of, we're gonna raise our kids Muslim in a Christian society. We're gonna send them to public school, and our kids are gonna be fasting during the month of Ramadan, but they still have to go to lunch. And the other kids will make fun of them, and they're not gonna celebrate these holidays. And when all the kids come back from Christmas break with new clothes and shoes, it's just, whenever you're trying something new like that, it's trial and error. In this particular situation, the object was to show people that, even if there are differences that bring us apart, then we can come back together to come to a common ground, to come to a balanced ground.
Recently, Qasim's been devoting his talent to support presidential candidate Barack Obama, and his work is capturing the attention of some industry heavyweights. They put his newest videos on the Obama support site, created by musician will.i.am.
It's college. I applied for this college. Give me this. You ain't going to college?
Everything that he's done has just been about informing people, about telling a story about some portion of somebody's life, some kind of struggle. I think he wants to basically make people more knowledgeable, make people more open-minded, you know, just basically let people know what's going on inside of a small world. For example, the Obama things that he just shot, it came from inspiration. It came from just like him, like, people need to know this. People, you know, I'm inspired by this. He really puts his heart into it.
I'm not saying I don't want you to go. It's just not something that we can do.
Yes, we can.
Next, Qasim hopes to turn Glimpse into a feature-length film and find the kind of success that lies outside of Hollywood.
For me, success doesn't really mean $2 million in the bank. Success to me is being content, being happy, being at peace with yourself and your life, and being okay in the eyes of God, Allah.
I have to say, I had a great time hanging out with Qasim in New York City. It was so inspiring to see how his career is just taking off. You know, he's doing work with will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas, and he's taking his $5,000 prize and pouring it right back in to making more films, this time about Barack Obama. You know, he's so committed. He's just doing this kind of on spec. Barack Obama doesn't know, but he wants to make films to support his candidacy.
I think that's very interesting. To me, this contest in many ways is part of the larger phenomenon of user-generated content, and it's exciting that young people with a camera and, you know, a laptop to edit can literally make quality content. It's very exciting.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a brief station break, and when we come back, the winner of the comedy category and your chance to see the $20,000 grand prize winner of the One Nation Online Film Contest, A Land Called Paradise.
Welcome back. I'm Wendy Hanamura from Link TV with Azhar Usman, comedian and judge of the One Nation Many Voices Online Film Contest. Now, many of you participated by voting for your favorites, and now we're going to show you the winning film in the comedy category.
This next filmmaker uses the alter ego of Baba Ali, but in real life he's Ali Ardakani, an IT employee for the city of Pasadena. Personally, I think he's the Muslim Max Headroom. He makes videos about being an American Muslim, and he shoots them against the wall of his daughter's bedroom.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Well, you know, Ali has an amazing following on YouTube with his series of Baba Ali videos. And for our contest, he submitted one called Muslim While Flying.
Sometimes being Muslim isn't easy, especially after 9/11. Many people right now, they don't understand Islam. Most people have no idea what Islam really is. Their understanding of Islam is twisted. Twisted. That leaves a lot of people confused. A lot of people confused. Especially since the media spoon feeds them their scary opinion. The media? Yeah, they're the ones who make the mistakes on TV. They make the oppressed look like the oppressors, and the oppressors look like the oppressed. Wow, that sounds confusing. Exactly. Look at the error in terrorism. If you study Islam, you'll see there's no terrorism in Islam. Think about it. Think about it. Out of the 6 billion people on this planet, 1.5 billion people are Muslims. That's a lot of Muslims. So, if Islam taught terrorism, 1 out of every 4 human beings would be doing a violent act. But that's not reality because Islam doesn't teach terrorism. Ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a Muslim on one of those crime shows? World's Wildest Police Chase. America's Most Wanted. How about Cops? You must have seen some Muslims on Cops. The guy with, maybe a guy with a turban, or a guy with a thobe, or a shovel of kameez, something. I don't think I've seen Muslims on any of these shows. Do you know why you don't see Muslims on these shows? Not even one? Because Islam doesn't teach terrorism? Exactly. But what about all those scary videos they show on TV? Always gonna find good and bad people in every group. The point is, if you wanna learn about Islam, go study Islam. Don't study the Muslims. You know when 2 Muslims meet each other, they say Assalamu alaikum? Do you have any idea what that means? That means may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Wow, that sounds peaceful. So many people, including Americans, convert to Islam every single day, including myself. You're a convert? Yeah, I'm a convert. You know, before 9/11, most people had no idea what Islam was. And most people still don't know what Islam is. They even got the stereotype of what a Muslim looks like all wrong. Did you know there's almost twice as many Muslims living in China than there is in Saudi Arabia? That kind of messes up all the stereotype, huh? Yeah. Most Americans have no idea the difference between a Hindu, a Sikh, or a Muslim. Airport security, they can't tell the difference either. Most likely, if you look Middle Eastern, even if you're not Muslim, you're gonna be searched. If you thought black while driving was bad, try Muslim while flying. Do you know what I'm saying? No, seriously. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're Muslim and you've flown, you know what I'm saying. Basically, you're gonna be searched in the airport a bunch of times. For no reason. But I didn't do anything! You know those random security searches at the airport? They're not so random. They go something like this. Hello, sir. Welcome to our airline. We're doing a random search today, and you have been selected. Do you mind if I wave my magic wand around your body? Okay. Sir, it looks like we're all clear. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? Maybe check your bags? Okay. Thank you. Are you planning to travel to any foreign countries today? This is a domestic flight. Sir, please answer the question. No. Do you plan to travel to any terrorism countries today? This flight's from like LA to Chicago, so I don't... Sir, please answer the question. No, I'm not. What's a terrorism country? Any country we're bombing, or we're planning to bomb, or any country that doesn't support the countries that we're bombing, or we're planning to bomb. Sir, isn't that like almost all the countries? Yes, sir, it is. Can I go now because... Actually, sir, you can. Thank you, sir, for flying with our airline. And please let me say, please continue to take only domestic flights. Thank you for flying with our airline. Thank you, sir. So you're done with the whole search. Everything went okay, exactly what you thought. You start taking about 10 steps. Guess what? The next security guy spots you. Good evening, sir. We're doing a random search today. And you've been... Oh, wait, let me guess. I've been randomly selected, right? Well, that's right, sir. That's correct. You mind if I wave my wand around your body? Something tells me these searches are not so random. Once again, everyone's scared and all this so-called security isn't making anyone feel any more secure. It only causes delays and unnecessary paranoia. So if you're at the airport, please don't act weird. You're just gonna delay everyone's flight. So here are some tips. Doing any of the following actions will most likely get you stopped at the airport. Here we go. Action number 1, wearing comical shirts that can be misunderstood the wrong way. Is that for me? What did I do? What did I do? Action number 2, getting a heated debate with the airline about your halal meal. Look, I want to know if this meat is halal. Is your meat in the plane this is halal? Look, I ordered halal food on the plane. You says, doesn't say halal here. Is the meat halal? Is the meat really halal? Who slaughters your meat? I want to know. Please tell me his name. Does he hand slaughter or does he electronic slaughter? Okay? Please tell me his name. Huh? He's not here? Where is he? He just slaughters and leaves? No. Yeah, it has to be halal or I'm not eating. I want to talk to your manager. Action number 3, saying words that can easily be misunderstood. Dude, the food at that place, it was the bomb. It was the bomb. You said bomb. You said bomb. No. Action number 4, speaking with an angry voice in a foreign language. ID چیه؟ دیوونم کردی اومدم بسه اومدم یه جا برم تا اینجا تا اونجا ولمون نمیکنی میگی تیکیت میخوام آیدی میخوام چیز میخوام پاسپورت میخوام بابا. So please don't act weird. Let us change the way the people perceive Islam. And the only way we can do that is by being good examples, good Muslims. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us strength and patience so we may be good examples for those among us. This is Ali reminding you just in case you forgot.
Well, that's one funny guy, and you can see why he won the comedy category. Ali's an interesting guy because he's sort of getting started in comedy. He's more of a comedy producer, became a performer by accident, really, by making his online videos, and now I think he's beginning to take up the craft of stand-up comedy as well. So I've actually had a chance to perform with him a few times, and it's interesting for me to see how he's growing as a performer.
Now, he kind of landed here on accident, right?
That's right. I mean, his family is actually originally from Iran, and you know, they were actually visiting the States, and sort of something went down, and there was a lot of political turmoil at that time. Suddenly, they found themselves stuck, couldn't go back to their old life, didn't really feel welcome in their new life, and suddenly here we are 30 years later.
I guess that's good food for comic material, huh? You know, between performances, we caught up with Ali at his apartment in Southern California to find out more about the man behind Baba Ali.
It is completely amazing. I was just a regular guy who sat in a cubicle, who does nothing to do with creativity. I actually purchased equipment for the city, and now I'm standing on stage in front of thousands of people and doing comedy.
That's the light, and that's my camera.
Particularly on this day, when an article about Ali Ardakani appears in the New York Times.
Yeah, it's me.
It's a pretty fast track for someone who works as an IT guy for the city of Pasadena by day and who lives in a modest apartment with his wife and 2 daughters.
Do you know what it feels like to be Muslim at the airport?
Ali still can't believe what's happened as a result of an alter ego named Baba Ali and some videos he taped in his daughter's bedroom and put up on the internet.
Here are some random distractions that might happen to you during Salat. Children running around while you're trying to pray. Children climbing your back during the Salat. By the time we got to the 3rd video, it was only 3,000 views. By the time we got to the 6th video, it was 30,000 views. The 10th video was 130,000 views. 14th video, we've gone 10 times more than that, it was 1 million views. Now we're over 4 million views. And that's just in the YouTube. We're on 20 other websites. In the UK, we're broadcasted to 1.8 million people a week.
Although his videos were originally made for the Muslim population, Ali found that non-Muslims enjoyed viewing them as well. But his initial motivation was to question some of the practices he witnessed, such as talking during Friday prayers at the mosque.
The companions of the Prophet. You guys want to get some food after Jummah? Yes, the companions of the Prophet, they used to... Oh, that sounds cool, man. Sounds good. Did you know you can't even talk during the khutbah? If I go to you personally, like on the side of the mosque and say, hey, this is what's going on, you may take it personal. But I figure if I sit in front of a camera and tell the entire world, no one can take it personal. So that's what I did. Relax, relax. Okay, you're taking this all wrong. There are taboo subjects, and there's kind of subjects that people put under the rug. And a lot of my friends, like, they were kind of hesitant when I told them what the subjects I was be doing, because like, hey, you may be shooting yourself in the foot by bringing these things up. But I found that these issues were very important. And since no one's bringing it up, I thought somebody has to bring it up. Ever wonder where the Muslims are at? I mean, the masjids are pretty empty. Then all of a sudden during Ramadan, all these Muslims start to come out. Did everyone just come out of hibernation or something? But what about the rest of the year? You know, being Muslim is not a seasonal thing. Being Muslim means full-time, year-round. That means you're worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 24/7, 365 days a year, and that includes holidays too.
What is happening here, brother?
Ali uses a combination of humor and a portrayal of different characters to make his points.
What are you talking about, bro? Don't play the games with me, brother. Don't play the games.
You're not gonna finish like this. Faster. I look good. My wife is my housekeeper. I'm out like a Saudi. I got to go. Peace out. Later, pops.
Audi, Saudi, what are you saying? Where are you going?
I was raised in a home where Islam wasn't really practiced, so there was no religion was really practiced. It's kind of like a family that just believed in God, and that's the way I was raised. There's a God, and that's pretty much it. Just be a good person. And then I realized that that wasn't enough when I was growing up, because there are certain rules and values that you need. You can't just say there's just a God, because that's not enough. So eventually I started studying different religions, and I came across Islam, and when I did, I became Muslim the next day. So, and I really took it on because it made intellectual sense to me. I didn't believe in blind faith.
Now Ali wants to take his religious beliefs and combine them with his performance talent and video skills to teach people about Islam and that there's no reason to fear Muslims.
I want to make a difference so the Muslim stereotype will be hopefully eliminated. No matter how many interviews I do, no matter how many times I see myself in the paper or my picture here or on television, it doesn't mean anything to me as much as it does when I see someone that comes up to me in person, tells me, Ali, I saw your video, I listened to it, it really hit my heart, it made a difference. That to me is priceless. And that's why I make my videos.
Well, Ali is obviously a funny, likable, very interesting guy. And personally, I was a big fan of this comedy category and the types of submissions we received. Of course, as a comedian, I take the art of comedy very seriously. And I've done my homework, and the humor tradition in America, particularly the Black American humor tradition, the Jewish American humor tradition, really is a trail that's been blazed by pioneers who always used comedy to be able to speak truth about the heaviest issues of the day.
I think one thing that's different now, though, is that you have the internet, you have YouTube, and so people like you and Ali can spread their work to every corner of the globe. I heard that Ali was just invited to perform in Saudi Arabia by the Royal House of Saud.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that scares me or delights me.
Our next winner is in the category of under 60 seconds, where filmmaker Lina Khan also uses comedy to talk about being Muslim in America. It's called Bassem is Trying.
Comb your hair. Do you want them to think Muslims are dirty?
وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون.
What's he got in that bag? Oh my God. What's he got in that bag?
Now, the actor who plays Bassem is actually not Muslim, and he said that it was really educational for him to play this role. He learned a lot doing it. Now, you have not always been a comic. You were a high-tech Silicon Valley entrepreneur type. You've been a lawyer. Do you find that you kind of tried to fit in?
Well, clearly I'm not somebody who's too concerned about fitting in, at least not in my looks. But of course, the phenomenon is very common, particularly I've noticed with Middle Eastern or South Asian Muslims in America who feel like they don't quite fit into corporate America. And so sometimes people go to absurd lengths to try to fit in, as we just saw in the film.
Well, in addition to Bassem is Trying, Lina submitted 2 other films in the contest. One of them ended up being the grand prize winner. We wanted to learn more about this talented filmmaker, so we paid her a visit at her home near UCLA.
All the films I made now and all the films I have made are pretty low budget films. I write them, I direct them, usually I edit them. So here is the room that we did all of the first few scenes
It's
on.
hard to believe that this apartment building near the UCLA campus is the production office and home to 23-year-old Lina Khan and her 5 female American Muslim roommates. And in the case of Bassem is Trying, the apartment also served as several of the locations you see in the film.
I turned this wall into a giant orange wall with wallpaper that was supposed to come off. Right up there, you got the wallpaper that I wasn't able to take off here.
Initially interested in majoring in political science and history, Lina saw filmmaking as a way to continue the social activism that had become a part of her life.
Hollywood is a really interesting environment for Muslims. When I was in film school, you have all varieties of people. Every time people hang out, you hang out at a bar, or and not just that, which is pretty common for college students. You got. I'm not sure if it's true, but you got a lot more drugs going on in the film sectors. I couldn't really be involved in any of that sort of stuff, and I didn't really want to be, so it kind of made it hard to network at first. But then I guess it just took a little bit more of a creative effort, trying to figure out other ways to hang out with people. And you'd even have the question of, what kind of projects do you want to work on?
This punk was up to no good.
She soon found it satisfying to work on her own projects, such as this film, Sleeper Cell, which originally began as a project at school. Shot film noir style, it satirizes the post-9/11 era of homeland security and targeting people of Islamic faith.
From his first words, I'd know if there was something to worry about. There's something to worry about.
Although Lina's style is still developing, she seems to favor a gentle, non-threatening approach when making her statements. Case in point, Bassem is Trying.
It's a social commentary. It's a very serious one, but sometimes, when you do it in such a dramatic fashion, it can just, people put up their shields or They want something a little bit lighter or funny. And this works too, because it's like an absurdist comedy. You know, it's funny, and you laugh at it, and you don't even, I mean, I've been showing this to my friends, and they don't even realize at first, you know, they just think it's some little, you know, joke, and then afterward they think about it, and they're like, you know, that makes sense. So I think people can be drawn into it and enjoy it and be entertained, and still at the same time see, like, well, this is what's going on. This is still going on right now. This is what this person feels, that they have to sort of squelch their own culture, and that's ridiculous.
When I go to school or when I go to work, there's always kind of that element that, you know, perchance the person who sees you, you might be the only Muslim they've met. And so you always feel like they're going to base everything they know about Muslims off of how they see you.
Comb your hair. Do you want them to think Muslims are dirty?
So you find that you're always trying really, really hard to make a good impression, even if it's for things you normally do. And so a lot of it is just, you know, normal stuff that happens, like, you know, you'll hold the door open just, you know, a wee bit longer, just so people know, you know, you're normal and you're a nice person. And you'll just do random things like that, you know. If I really thought that, you know, if anything's going to describe the Muslim experience here in America, it's really that concept of just trying really hard to make sure people don't judge you too hard.
Masur Malik served as producer of the film and is just one of dozens of Muslim volunteers lured to the project by the possibility of what Bassem could say on their behalf.
Like any other group, Muslims are, you know, people, if I have to say it, if there's any need for me to say that. And they're just normal people like anybody else. So they have similar concerns and needs and so on and so forth, and a lot of us also would like to simply just fit in and go on with our lives.
That universal desire was the theme of Lena's film that won the $20,000 grand prize in the One Nation online film contest. Titled A Land Called Paradise, it was set to a song by country singer Kareem Salama. Lena's idea was to allow the Muslim American community to speak for itself. And so she sent out a mass email asking Muslims what they wanted everyone else to know about them. She was surprised to receive 2,500 responses. Her biggest challenge, culling that list.
So I went through with a little checklist and tried to figure out what were the biggest topics that came up. And you know, I'm sure at least a quarter of them were Muslim women who wore the headscarf saying something like, hey, I'm normal too. And so I said, okay, there definitely has to be a couple about Muslim women, some of their responses. Definitely had a lot of politically related things, and I didn't want it to be that negative because I looked at the other submissions on the contest, and maybe a good half of them were all about Patriot Act type issues and things like that. So I thought, okay, let's go a little bit more of a friendly flavor.
With the success of her films and a bright future ahead of her, what's the message that Lena most wants to convey?
I mean, more than anything, I think I just wanted to have, you know, that if you see a random Muslim guy in the street, he's just a random guy who happens to be Muslim. I think that's what I was trying to do with all of my films. Just kind of get it that, you know, these people just happen to be Muslim, they're just normal people, kind of just humanize them a little bit more.
Lena Khan is really a special talent, a very, very talented young filmmaker. She submitted 3 films to the contest, all of which were wonderful. Now you've seen the 6 winners in each of the categories, and we've saved the $20,000 grand prize winner for the end.
It's a great story, Azar. You know, Lena was kind of frustrated because all she saw about Muslims in America were stereotypes, were negative stereotypes. So she went to her network of friends and said, if you could tell anyone in America about being an American Muslim, what would you say? Here are some of the answers in her grand prize winner, A Land Called Paradise.
I wanna live in a land called paradise. I wanna go to the valley of the King. I wanna live in a land called paradise. Wanna see the birds fly and I wanna hear the angels sing the praises of my Lord so far above. As I move poetically with struggle, I fall in love. I look to the left, I look to the right, and all I gaze upon reveals the source of flowers, rainbows, and the dew at dawn. Some see before and some see in and some see after. I let my sight pierce the chains and see the master. I wanna live in a land called paradise. I wanna go to the valley of the king. I wanna live in a land called paradise. Wanna see the birds fly and I wanna hear the angels sing. So many times in my life I ask myself the question, what got me, brought me into all this mess I'm swimming in? But pain is not and neither harm in the pool of bliss. So slap me with your hand or kiss me with your softest kiss. Tell me that you love me or that you don't like me now. Tell me you invite me or that you don't want me around. I won't cry over a world that can't change my life. I'll put my money on what lies ahead in paradise. I wanna live in a land called paradise. I wanna go to the valley of the king. I wanna live in a land called paradise. Wanna see the birds fly and I wanna hear the angels sing. Try to do right and love my wife and trade and pray and talk. I can be anywhere, do anything, and a mind full of God. I'm pleased and good and happy and harmony. Now I realize that I already live in a land called paradise. I wanna live in a land called paradise. I wanna go to the valley of the king. I wanna live in a land called paradise. Wanna see the birds fly and I wanna hear the angels. I wanna live in a land called paradise. I wanna go to the valley of the king. I wanna live in a land called paradise. Wanna see the birds fly and I wanna hear the angels sing. Wanna hear the angels sing. Oh, oh.
Thanks for joining us for this special Link TV showcase for the winners of the One Nation, Many Voices online film contest. It's really been my pleasure to serve as your co-host and as one of the judges on the panel. And I really do hope that our witty banter and intros weren't too distracting, superfluous, and unnecessary. And yes, that is redundant and repetitive. Anyway, thanks again for joining us. I'm Azhar Osman.
And I'm Wendy Hanamura for Link TV. Don't forget to submit an entry for our next film contest. And here's a reminder that all of the 2007 film entries can be seen on our website. That's linktv.org/OneNation. Just look under Archives. Thank you, and goodbye.
Funding for this program provided by One Nation, a philanthropic collaborative investing in ideas, people, and organizations working to fulfill America's promise of liberty and justice for all.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs that connect you to the world.